G'day business management folk, it's Mr Hardingham with my very first presentation for you. I'm very nervous today, so I'm trying my hardest to impress you guys because Mr Henderson and Mr Clark did such a sterling job. Look, today I'm looking at location. So there's sorts of factors and things you need to consider when looking at a location for your business. So the outcomes of what you need to know and what you need to be able to do at the end of this lesson. To be able to describe the key decisions a prospective business owner needs to make when looking at a potential location of their business. There's a couple of key terms that we would like to introduce to you today. One of them is zoning, a means by which local councils allocate land for different uses, such as residential, commercial, recreation, industrial. So that basically stops someone building a factory right in the middle of a very quiet residential street. Complementary business, something which we're going to talk about in a lot more detail later, but the sort of the terminology is that those that offer products or services that are related to a different business, and that may be of use to the customers of a particular business. Now, it sounds like a bit of a mouthful, but I hope to sort of make that a lot more clear for you later in the presentation. Okay, first thing we can look at is different types of business locations. So the first, oh, hello, what's going on there? See you, Birdie. Wow, like I said, I'm trying to impress you guys. So the first one is shopping centres. I'm sure, which is a lot of you are aware of these sorts of shopping centres because you go there all the time and hang out. So we're talking about places like Greensborough Plaza, Northlands in Preston, Doncaster Shopping Town, and of course our old friend St Helena Market. So there are lots of shops, usually with a anchor tenant, such as like a Woolies or a Myers, set up in under one roof. Next form of shopping location is retail shopping strips. So for that, you're looking at your things like your Main Road Eltham. So that's a picture of the Eltham Bookshop and the Morrison Real Estate at another side. Diamond Creek shopping shops there, the car park. Isn't that looking inviting? Doesn't it look like a fantastic place to shop? And of course, for the chic, more trendy people out there, Chapel Street, South Yarra. So again, they're not in a shopping centre as such in one roof, but they're a line of different shops. We got the next sort of location is not even having a physical location as such, but having a more of an online presence. So for that, we're sort of talking about places like, well, I hope no one's getting dizzy out there, JB Hi-Fi. Now, while they certainly have shops, well, they're at pretty much every shopping centre you can go to nowadays, they are also looking at expanding their business by opening up a web presence. So for those people who can't make it or who don't like Christmas crowds, they can still invest and buy products by going to their website. You have places like Amazon.com, which aren't actually a physical environment at all, except for the warehouses, that all their products are solely shopped online. They can be brought online. Then, of course, you've got these new phenomenons like the auction websites, eBay, where people who don't even have to be a business at all can buy and sell their own products online. So eBay is where I get all my authentic Christopher Kane doll-face t-shirts from. I recommend it heartily for everyone. But it's interesting about eBay is that they've actually are getting more and more into arrangements with big corporations. So for example, you may have heard that Woolworths have gone into partnership with eBay to use that as an online presence. So it's sort of a cheaper way for companies to have an online presence. Then you've got your house-based businesses. Okay, so when we're talking about those, you're talking things like your local plumber. Like he might have his own van and he goes out and sees customers in his van, but his van's located at home. He takes orders and bookings from home, and basically everything is situated from his own residence. He doesn't have to go and buy a factory or a shop front. Then you've got things like people who are doing things like accounts from home. Okay, so they don't actually have an office, but they do all their business accounts from home. They might advertise online and people might bring their books around to the private residence and they do it from home. So there's Homer there. doing his online accounts. Another common one is IT. Okay, a lot of IT businesses are actually usually are some person, some very sad person in a very dark room, taking phone calls and helping people online just over the phone. For example, there's internet providers right now that will offer a service, an internet service, but they don't have a shop front. They actually will run the service from home. They actually lease internet space from Telstra, but their business literally is an office out of somebody's home. Okay, next thing we're looking at is factors affecting choice of business locations. So some of the things that you need to consider when you decide to actually buy a physical space is visibility. If you're a retail and service business, you need to be seen. It's no point having a hairdresser where no one can find you or know where you are. Or there's no point having a gift shop if people can't find you. So it's very important for visibility that you're in a place, a prime location where people can actually see you. For manufacturers, so that's businesses that make things, they don't need to be seen so much, but they need to have a practical space. So they need space where they can get trucks in and out, that's close to, for example, railway stations or airports where they can actually ship off their goods. Costs. Now, we would all love to have a business in a brand spanking new shopping centre, but we also are aware that there's a cost factor that comes involved with that as well. So the most visible and high profile the location, the greater the cost. So if you want to go and open up a shop in Emporium, in my Emporium in a city, it's going to cost you a lot of money. So when looking at costs, business need to be make sure a profit to justify the cost. There's no point spending 80 to 90% of your income on your rent. Well, sure, it might be visible, but you're just not breaking even. Businesses like cafes, for example, need to be really careful when considering their location. They need foot traffic to survive. If they don't have people walking past their shops all the time, being on a shopping strip, being in a food court, then they're going to go out of business very carefully. So they need to be very careful where they locate their business. Proximity to customers and suppliers. It's another key thing they need to consider. You need to be located close to your customers. So they need to be able to get to you. There's no point if you're constantly looking for a car space, you're going to basically give up and go and look for somewhere else. And you need to be close to your suppliers. Look, it's you can still survive without it, but by being closer to your suppliers, so for example, your cafe, and there's a local farm, 5-6 k's out that supplies your food, it's going to reduce your transport costs, which actually means that you've got less overheads, better potential to make a profit. Proximity to competitors. Now, having a McDonald's located next to a KFC is going to cause you greater challenges to making a profit. Doesn't mean you can't, but if you've got your competitor right next door, it's going to be a far more competitive environment, and you've got to work that extra bit harder to make sure that you can actually get the customers in through the door. Look, it can work when there's a great demand for a product or service that's not being satisfied. So McDonald's next to a KFC could be work if there's actually no other options in the area and there's actually a demand that people need more food options. But again, ultimately, if there's no local competitors, you've got your greater chance for success. And it's all about what we talk about is that you've seen a gap in the market and you're trying to exploit it. And it's very easy to exploit a gap in the market when you've got no one trying to muscle in on your territory. Although that kind of sounds like a mob movie. Okay, very last thing is complementary businesses. So when we talk about complementary businesses, it's having a complementary business that can assist bringing in customers to a new business. So when I talk about having a doctor's office, if you go to the doctors now, you'll know that there's a chemist really nearby. So you go to doctors to be seen because you're feeling unwell, but the chemist is right out the door when you leave with your script. So straight away, it's a complementary business. You go straight to the chemist. An electrical store. So you might want to go and buy a new, you might want to go and buy a new stereo system, but you also might want to, at the same time, buy a new couch so you can sit down and watch your new TV or listen to your music. Now, homemaker centres are a great example of complementary businesses because they're all different businesses. They're not so much in competition for each other, but they actually complement, they support each other. And for example, homemaker centres, you'll have your furniture stores, you have your white goods, you have your places like JB Hi-Fi. So, in summary, there are 4 main types of business locations: shopping centres, retail shopping strips, online presence, and home-based businesses. When deciding where to locate your business, you must consider visibility, costs, proximity, customers, suppliers, competitors, and complementary businesses. So thank you for your attention, and gee, it wasn't so bad after all, was it?